Hey all, this is Stephanie with Energy Aligns, and welcome to my Thursday Tarot Insight. Every Thursday I show up here and I pick one tarot card that highlights and harnesses the energy of the collective. And then I talk about how we as individuals can utilize and use and pull down and draw down that energy in our individual lives, in our day-to-day. Okay, let's get started. It feels to me like it's a huge amount of time since the last time I did my Tarot Insight. It was only last Thursday. And I was looking back on how we pulled the Father Wind riding that bull. And that's kind of what it was feeling like. We were riding a bull. And so now what we have this week is a major arcana card called the Hanged Man. Okay, so take a look at the card for a second. And major arcana in the tarot is about bigger things, bigger lessons, bigger processes, real life-changing, digging down, never going back again kind of things. For us as a collective, here we are at the Hangman number 15, major arcana, okay? So not only are we starting to see things from a different perspective, upside down here, but we are looking at things through a different lens completely. All the colors here. It's a different vibration. And it's like a different dimension, so to say, if you're going into the metaphysical. So, okay, have you been feeling off, a little bit daisy, confused, hazy, unclear? I know I have, and this is the energy that's going around right now. It's because things are moving, yay. So it's getting a little mixy and a little bit confusing. So it's yay and ugh, because the shifting, that means we are shifting. So this feeling of disorienting, it's good in the sense that change is really happening on a bigger level. And what I mean by that is it's really happening on a deep energetic level. So, right, we have energetically things change and move first, and then it manifests into the denser forms, the physical forms, like our body, like actually things that we work with in the world. And actually seeing it out in the world reflecting back at us, okay? That's to come. But here we are in this kind of energetic confusion in a way. But it's not. There's a plan here. And it looks like we will be in a little bit of the swirl of things for about 3 to 6 months when I asked, where we don't quite recognize some of the stuff and things we are looking at directly. We can't make sense of it completely, collectively. And things will be debased. So what does this mean? What it means is that essential threads are being pulled out and discarded, meaning some of the things we have been attending to aren't going to seem as hard or as heavy or hold as much weight. So things we've been focusing on, things we've been worrying about, things we've been, spending a lot of time on. So what this really says, it's like magic time when we become more attuned to answers and solutions, and the answers and solutions are being allowed to come in. So as you can see in this card, it's like a chrysalis when you look at it. We as a collective are in this chrysalis 3 to 6 months collectively, therefore individually, okay? So how can we harness this energy of the Hanged Man for us, for our individual lives? Like I always say, here we are as individuals. You're watching this video. It's cool to know what's going on in the collective consciousness, but here we are waking up every day, doing step by step all the things we need to do to survive. So how can we use the energy of the Hanged Man? It's intense, as you know out there, and this energy is intense, but there is a safety in it. So one way we can utilize this energy is, as much as possible, stay in your cocoon. Doesn't mean to bury your head in the sand necessarily, but stay close to yourself. Resist as much as you can the urge to spread yourself too thin, to expand yourself too wide right now. Resist the urge to be doing more than you feel comfortable doing. And you will feel a sensitivity when you start to stretch yourself. So you'll notice. And so just listen to that and stay close to yourself. So the second thing, how we can harness the energy, is to really take care of the things that are close to home, which are your body, mind, and spirit, and to really, really tend to these things. And by really tending, it's not doing more. It's really listening. And so what does this mean, not doing more? It just means don't go out and sign up for 1,000,000 classes. Time-wise, don't stretch yourself too thin. Don't add more busy things to your schedule. Instead, find ways that you can tend to these things close to home, body, mind, and spirit. For example, simply sit quietly in your yard, or taking the pauses between the activities in your life. This means using tools that you already 100% already have, and really, really using them. Pull them out. Remember them. This is the time. This is the pause time. This is the waiting. This is really a transitory time. And there's a lot of beauty in the pause. And it's a time without a fixed outcome yet. And so it's a time of real surrender and touching in on the things that are real and true for us as a collective, but also for you. So what are these things for you? Ask yourself, what is real and true for you? Write them down, contemplate them. And I'll give you an example for me. Right now, what is real and true for me is my business, my family, and my spiritual connection. These feel the most important to me and the most pertinent things to focus on. They're real for me. And so I implore you also to ask yourself, what are the most real things for you? And you could have one thing, you could have maybe more than 5. It'll be different for everybody. But to start to look at those and give those your focus, because there's a lot of things, like I've been talking about, that are they're begging for our attention. And the number one power that we have is where our attention goes. So take that power seriously and take the ability that you have to focus on real things for you. Everybody has very important areas in their life, and let's just hone in on them just for this time when we're in this kind of chrysalis energy. Okay, take a last look at this card. It's really beautiful. And for a lot of us, I will say, it is difficult to pause. It is difficult to what I call surrender, to kind of fall back in to the unknowing. But in the energetic work, in metaphysical work and energy work and meditation, when you're surrendering, when you're falling back into the unknown, you're really falling into the truth of you. And when you see it that way, when you start to think of it that way, it becomes a safe space that you can always go to and you can always trust. And so if you haven't had experiences like that, join a group to meditate. Get on my website and follow along with my guided meditations where I'm talking you through some of these things. These are safe spaces internally. So you can rely on that. And I am just like, the energy is weird. And when I pull these cards and come to these cards, it always makes me feel real focused. And so I'm hoping that translates over to you too. And if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, I just sent out the February one, which has a guided meditation that we go into the first energy center and really kind of take a look and create some energetic awareness around the subtle body and what our first energy center really stands for us. So I encourage you to sign up for my newsletter. Once a month, I will be sending out a new guided meditation focusing on a different energy center, or reach out and go to places where you can get a meditation or a help in some way if you're struggling. There are a lot of resources out there, and I'm happy to share some of my resources if you don't know. Energy aligns, 23@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, energyaligns.com, and message me there. Okay, I'm wishing all of you a lot of love and deep awareness, and hang tight. And remember, when we're hanging tight in this kind of upside down phase, there's stuff going on. So focus where you want to focus during this time. If you don't know, if you're confused, if you find yourself reeling, come back to something. A breath meditation, just closing your eyes and putting your hand on your heart. There's a lot of simple things we can do to kind of fall back in and not be so out into the wild energy that's going on around, because there's a lot changing and it's on purpose. So the energy is moving, and if you're getting lost in it, you need to take responsibility and pull yourself out. Okay, I'll talk to you all next week. Thanks for coming by and listening to my Tarot Insight.